We don't have a name for this podcast, by the way.
We don't.
No.
We'll think of one.
We'll think of one. But yeah, let's get stuck in. Welcome, everybody, to the first ever podcast that myself and Shogun have done related to RLCS. It's Season 6. It's happening this weekend. Europe, America, not in that order. Joining me, of course, like I've already said, is Callum the Shogun. Not just the best commentator not to be commentating RLCS, but also the best commentator to have ever commentated RLCS. In the best production quality Twitch streamer for Rocket League. There's a list of accolades that goes on, but I won't tire you with them. Welcome, Shogun, to the podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Boy, and we're going to be talking about all of the RLCS teams in the order, well, no particular order apart from NA, then EU. Then we'll give our predictions for how these teams are going to do. But first of all, welcome, Shogun. How you doing, my man?
Hi. The introduction sort of, hurt me in my chest a little bit to start with, and then it got nicer.
Yeah.
As we went through the it hurts, man. But either way, got to shut up you lot today, and that's making me a little bit happy.
Of course, a lot of people want to know what you've got to say about RLCS because this season, I'm disappointed, a little bit angry, but also just going to make the most of it. Shogun's not commentating RLCS this season, at least for league play, as far as I know. But you're here to give your thoughts to the world.
I am. As the person that won the RLCS Wizard hat of predictions last season, there is no one, maybe Johnny, no one more qualified in the world. And you know what? The reason why I have visa issues is because I can now never give this back to the rest of the RLCS team. It's mine forever.
That's the silver lining, really. That's really the
I have a
silver
wizard
lining.
hat.
But yeah, let's just get stuck right into this. We're just going to be chatting about roster changes, and there aren't many of those in North America. So we'll start off with the teams that haven't changed. Cloud9 fans are going to be very happy because Squishy, Torment, and Gimmick are all still together. So give me your thoughts on that roster going into this season. Same roster as last season, but I think a very, very different team than last season.
Yes. Cloud9 had last season what I considered to be Northern Gaming syndrome, where you have a very good season for yourself. We saw Northern Gaming back in Season 3 where they had a ridiculously good season for themselves. And then Season 4, they tried to do the same thing over and over again, and it didn't quite work. Cloud9 had that problem last season where they became very predictable. They got very well known for their passing play, and they just kept going to the same well over and over again. And if I, as a play-by-play caster, can tell what you're about to do, there's a problem. Like, I should be reacting to what you've done, not being able to predict ahead of what you're going to do. But this offseason, I don't know what sparks it, but there's a level of creativity there that's sort of been missing for a while, and they have been decimating the North American scene.
Mm-hmm. They've been beating NRG. It's probably the most important thing, the most standout thing. I think a couple of wins, actually. Online competition, it's not a LAN, but neither is league play. So they are beating NRG right now, which is very notable.
Top 3, as it was known as last season, was NRG and G2 and Cloud9. Cloud9 have now beat G2 the last 4 times they've played them. It suddenly starts to seem like a bit of a 2-horse race now because Cloud9 have just been that dominant.
Yeah. And I mean, we're going to talk about this later. We're going to talk about predictions of who we think is going to win each league and who we think is going to qualify for RLCS. But I think you'd be a fool not to predict Cloud9 RLCS, and that there's never been a better time to predict a Cloud9 win in league play, I don't think. Even Season 4, where they were looking dominant as well. I think right now is probably the most dominant that we've seen them. At least the strongest that we've seen them. It just depends how good NRG show up when league play finally begins. So let's talk about NRG then. So again, same roster as last season. Fireburner, Garrett, Justin. What are your thoughts about NRG? Is it going wrong? Have they hit a plateau perhaps? Or is this just a minor blip in a great legacy for a great North American team?
So I think me, you, and pretty much everyone knew that this roster was either going to be the exact same or maybe Fire would be moved on. But the big question was always, well, for who? Who do you really get a hold of?
Yeah.
I never really saw any options out there. Maybe Chicago was like the only one I could see.
Yeah, that's a good shout, yeah.
Apart from that, there's no real reason to move Fire on. So the roster's the same. At the end of the day, they've been top of their game. They're still, top 2 for pretty much everything. It's just they've got a team right now that seems to be challenging them. But NRG, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. It's interesting to see the roster staying the same. It's good to see. It's typically a roster that has stayed the same for a while. They're pretty well known for being very patient with, Jacob they had for the longest time. Now they got Justin. They want to see this out for one more season. I agree. Still look good. I don't know what you think about it, but I don't see any need to move.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible off-season for them. I mean, they've been losing to Cloud9, but it is the off-season. As long as they put the hours in, and they have been putting the hours in as far as I know, in the run-up to league play, they've just got to make it into the LAN again and then really put their heads down and figure out how to beat Dignitas, mainly. It's their number one problem that they're going to be facing this season.
Welcome to the problem of the world.
Although a couple of teams in Europe seem to have at least found out a few ways to tackle that problem. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, for now, I'd say NRG fans, no need to panic. I think it was the right decision to keep the same team. I mean, they were like a couple of seconds. They were a goal away from winning RLCS Season 5 for crying out loud. They also made gnarly 2 finals. They've been looking pretty good, and there are things that they can work on. They don't need like a player change. Now, I'm glad they didn't make a player change, because there were so many things that they could definitely work on as a team. But we don't want to take too long going into all the details. Let's move on and talk about the other team of the big three, G2, like you mentioned earlier. Another team that have kept the same roster. Do you think that this is a team that can still be carried by JNaps? I know that that's a big question that people have. And secondly, do you think they even want to do that? Do they still want to try and give JNaps the ball all the time? Is that even a good idea at this point?
I don't think they've been trying to do that throughout the entirety of the offseason. JNaps' points per game have not even been close. I know it's not a great sort of show, but you look at all of the stats, they're not quite really as close as they were to his apex, which was around E-League last year. And it's not something you can do. Maybe for a little while they could have, really rested it on JNaps, but you're looking at these teams out there, Evil Geniuses have been popping off. We'll get into them in a second. Cloud9, you look at that team, at least 2 of those guys are going to be at a ridiculous level every single game. Same thing with NRG. You need that team to really be stepping up. They were never going to make any roster moves. We knew that, especially after we saw that they were signing that ludicrous contract, multi-year contract with G2 and having all these beautiful shirts being made up. If I was Canadian, I'd be all over that JNaps shirt.
It is very nice. I was so impressed that they made different shirts for different nationality. If you don't know what we're talking about, you could just go look up G2 esports jerseys for the USA and Canada, or Canadian, the US players and the Canadian players. They're very, very good looking shirts. Definitely some of the best in the Rocket League scene. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. I don't think that I don't think they've been trying to spoon feed JNaps and just give them the ball all the time. I don't think that's the right way for them to play. I think they do need to just try and be a solid squad. Look at the teams that are being successful in Rocket League in the past few years. Dignitas, 2-time champions. That's not a team with 1 star player. NRG, when they rose up last season for North America, they didn't have 1 star player. They had a whole team playing well, and there were questions asked to Fireburner, but they were still trying to play as a 3-man carry. And Cloud9, same thing. They've all definitely got their moments. So I don't think that's what G2 need to do. We'll give our predictions again, like I said, later on. But
there's a lot to unbox when it comes to them.
G2 are a bit of a tough one to place. You never want to predict that they're going to do really well, because you feel like they're going to let you down. But at the same time, you don't want to predict that they're going to do really badly, because you know that they do have the potential to show up and make you look stupid for saying they're going to do badly.
The only good prediction when it comes to G2 is no prediction, because no matter what you go for, you look stupid.
Yeah.
The moment you have faith, it's gone. The moment you don't have faith, you probably should have done.
So yeah, we'll talk more about G2 later, but Evil Geniuses have got to be the next team in America to talk about, and they actually do have a change. They've dropped out Chrome and picked up Chicago, who's by far the, I think, standout player from RLRS last season. He didn't qualify for RLCS, with his team from last season, which was another team, Dignitas. Don't get confused. I know Dignitas dropped Chicago's team in America for the current World Championship roster from EU. They made it. I think they were 4th place finishers in Rival Series North America last season. But still, I think Chicago was the best player in the league, so it's no surprise that somebody grabbed him. And Evil Genius is dropping Chrome. It was a bit of a messy roster swap. Shame to see it all go down like that, but yeah, give me your thoughts on that. The Chrome swap for Chicago. Like, you can talk about like whether or not you think it was a good idea, or
I think
you think it could have been handled better.
In general, it definitely could have been handled better, but that's the thing, though, is that a lot of this becomes very personal when you get into Rocket League esports, because you're spending all this time together, and there's not really the head honcho. I mean, me and you, we're in the UK. We see a lot of football trades, but it's not the players making that decision most of the time. It's you got one guy that you point towards and just go, well, he's decided, they don't want you anymore. But in Rocket League, it's very much the players decide, okay, we want to move this guy out, we want to move this guy in, and that leads to everything being messy. But in terms of the actual trade itself, I can't see a fault with it when it comes to Evil Geniuses. Chrome had a great season for himself last season.
His best season ever had. Best season he's ever had.
Yeah, first time ever in the RLCS finals. You can't ask for more from him, but at the same time, don't know if you're going to get that out from him again. And the more important thing here is not that Evil Geniuses took Chicago for themselves, is that they kept Chicago from other teams.
True.
Them taking Chicago improves them, and it means that the other teams have got to go looking elsewhere, because without naming names, there were teams that wanted Chicago, and they had to look elsewhere for their pickups.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, if literally anyone out of EG had been dropped for Chicago, I wouldn't have been surprised, because I don't know enough about that team, like, and what's going on behind closed doors. Like, if they dropped Corrupted G or Classics and picked up Chicago, or picked up Chicago in one of their stead and kept Chrome, I would have been like no more surprised than I am. I think I think Chicago is just good enough that they would have grabbed him for anyone. And it just so happens that Corrupted G and Classics made a little agreement before Chrome did. So goodbye, Chrome, I guess.
It's really much case of who asks who first.
Yeah.
Because whoever gets asked, yo, should we drop this guy to, pick up this guy? That person's always going to say yes, because that means that they're not getting dropped. Yeah,
because you can, if anybody doesn't know, you can only keep your spot in RLCS if you keep 2 out of the 3 players who played in the previous season, which I think that rule's probably going to go out the window years down the line. It's
it will
kind
slowly
of
be phased out.
It's not. I mean, I see why it's there. It's just so there's some identity for teams, and some like job security for players, but. Yeah, right now it really puts you in a powerful position. Like you say, if one of your teammates says, hey, let's just drop the other guy and pick up this up-and-coming player, you're gonna be like, yeah?
Yeah, because that other guy wants some change.
Yeah. So
it's gonna happen no matter what.
Like, I don't know who instigated it, but you're almost always gonna be like, I suppose I just have to say yeah here, don't I? Because that means I've got another season guaranteed, because they can't draw me as well, or else they're out of the league. So I think overall, it's a change that does make sense. But I think it's still a shame, because Chrome did have such a good season, not just for his standards. Like, he had a good season, like, full stop. He actually played really well. And I was... it's going to be sad not to see him in RLCS. I don't think he's in RLRS either, is he? No, did he qualify? No, he did qualify for RLRS.
He qualified.
Yeah, he did make it to Rival Series, sorry. I remember now. I can't remember who with, but I did see that he made it back into Rival Series. But anyway, let's talk about Ghost Gaming a little bit. A team that didn't do anywhere near as well as Season 4 as they did in Season 3. Or no, rather, they didn't do as well in Season 5 as they did in Season 4, sorry. That was after dropping Classics for Matt. Well, they seem to agree that the Matt pickup wasn't very handy, because they've dropped him one season after picking him up, and they've picked up Memory instead. So what do you think about that? First of all, like, dropping Matt instead of Zane Jackie is a very obvious person to bring up, because Lethamir, I think, is the best player in the team, and nobody would argue that. So why get rid of Matt over Zayn when Zayn's had many seasons now to give it a good go?
I disagree with this move. In terms of the roster last season, when I first saw it, it didn't quite make sense to me because it was such a lopsided team. It was so weird about how that team was going to go about this, because Lefmir loves to have as much of the ball as possible. And sort of when you thought about it in context, you should say, okay, Zayn Jackie is going to stay back. Matt is going to be the recipient of whatever Zayn Jackie does. Like, Zayn Jackie will move forward, he'll take out the defenders, and he'll give a very easy shot to one of the best shooters in the entirety of North America at the time. And it didn't quite work out, but the question then becomes, right, who do you move on? Zayn just hasn't been overly impressive over the last few seasons, and I'm a little bit surprised that he's sort of hanging on.
Yeah.
I think this is his last chance. If he does not have a standout season this time around, there's pretty much no way he stays. I know Lefmir rates him quite highly, at least from the conversations I've had with him in person.
Yeah. That's got to be why. That's got to be why they've Leth has kept Zayn around. He must rate him. But that's
not making you very scared as the third person coming in.
Yeah.
Like, Memory's coming in right now. He knows there's that bond between Zayn and Leth. It can sort of put you into a position where you definitely feel like the outsider.
Then again, though, Memory wasn't going to be in RLCS unless he got this or took this offer, right? So for him, it's a no-brainer.
Like no slouch at all. I really want to see Memory do well here.
Yeah, he looked alright. He looked alright in Universal Open with Lethemir. Looked pretty good. Although there are comms between games. I don't know if you heard, but between some of the games, it sounded like they were arguing. You couldn't really make out exactly what they were saying, but there were people on Reddit trying to transcribe and trying to figure out what they were talking about, because
where's the lip readers in the community?
It didn't sound like they were having a pleasant conversation after they lost, I think, one of the games to Mets and Oris and Magnus, who they eventually got eliminated by. So that doesn't bode well. I mean, Lethmir has
season's not even started yet. And we've already seen how midway through the season towards the late end of the season, we even had it last season where teams are just crumbling because a couple of results go against them. So I don't know who they've got in the first week, but hearing that aloud, they need some good results to start with. Otherwise, that team might not work at all.
Oh yeah, because they started off last season horrendously, 0-4, and then they kind of picked it up a little bit at the end, but it was far too late. Starting 0-4 is not ideal. I'm not convinced about that swap at all. That's, I think, one of the worst roster swaps. Not because I think Memory's a bad player, but I just don't see dropping Matt as a good idea. Like, he was one of the
it's more a case of not who you brought in. It's more a case of who you let go. Yeah,
like if you offered Matt or Memory to every team in the RLCS in North America, that's not an easy decision. It's not like, oh well, of course you take the new boy Memory, give him a shot. Like in Chicago's case, right? I think everybody would be like, oh yeah, of course, pick up Chicago. Very few players in the North America who would have a safe spot against him when he's looking this good. But Memory's not quite the same level, and I don't think Matt is like a weak player. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Maybe he was just done. But as far as I know, that wasn't the case.
He's subbing this season. I don't think he's done.
He's for Rogue. Yeah, he's subbing for Rogue. Which, that's going to be interesting, because he's played for Rogue before with Sizz. And if the new pickup for Rogue doesn't do well, maybe Matt sitting on the bench will be like, hey, Sizz, buddy old pal, remember we used to be pretty good together. How about you let me give it a shot?
The end of that team didn't look great where they started dropping a bunch of games, but time has a funny thing of letting you forget that sort of stuff and then you remember the really good parts. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, let's talk about Rogue then. So they have dropped Insolences and picked up Joro, who had a pretty promising series season in the rival series last season. I'm not saying this with any sort of malice whatsoever, but I'm very glad to see that they've dropped Insolences. I think it's great for Rogue, and I think it's great for it's kind of like a warning, I guess, for other players in the RLCS, that if you don't put the hours in, and you don't take professional gaming seriously, it is perfectly okay for your team to drop you. And I think that this should be a real. I don't know what you think about that, Shogun, but
I mean, we're going to see more of it when we move over to Europe soon enough. But yeah, I think no matter what, you had to get rid of Insolences last season. He basically had no hours throughout the entire season, despite, I mean, you can go and read up on all of this at home, but I'm going to try and give you a quick summary of all of it. Wasn't showing up to scrims, this is allegedly on all of this. This is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Just didn't really have any sort of comms going on with his teammates. And this is honestly not the first time that we've sort of heard this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So Insol had to be moved on. I think from there, Rogue had to pick whoever they could get a hold of. I would not be surprised if they were part of the fight for Chicago, and Chicago chose Evil Geniuses, which not surprising given if you're coming in, you want the team to have the best recent results.
Yeah, I actually heard Chicago say on his stream, I can't remember if I caught his stream or if I saw a clip where somebody said, why did you join EG? And then he's talking about how he had a couple of teams he was scrimming with, and this is just the team that he played the best with. He felt like that was a team that fitted his playstyle the best and he could gel the most naturally with. And that also hints that he scrimmed with Rogue and he's just looking at Sis and Jacob like, okay, how on earth am I supposed to play with these clowns? then joins EG instead. I can totally see that.
All season, I want the Rogue comms.
Yeah. Faking. I'm up. Me too. Same.
I'm insane.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. I think Joro is a decent pickup. I want sort of your opinion on this of taking Chicago out of the pool.
Yeah.
Is there really anyone else they could have picked up?
Well, like you said earlier, you said picking up Chicago is good for two reasons, because you get a good player and also you deny a good player from another team. I reckon it would have been a bit cheeky of Rogue or Ghost, if they do want to make a change, to instead of go for a player who's in the rival series, look at FlyQuest and Allegiance. Try and nab one of them, because they've both made it in. They've both qualified for RLCS. And if you can,
this sounds familiar.
Yeah, if you could break up their roster, just nick one of their players. For FlyQuest, take your pick. For me, it really depends what kind of player you want. If you want, I think the one with the most potential, then I reckon AJ is your man. But if you want the most consistent, Prime Thunder is probably the one you want to go for. And I think Wonder plays the Dominus. So yeah, if you want another, if Rogue want to grab another long car and just be all long cars together, then just why not? Same thing with Allegiance. You've got a team that have played together for multiple seasons. If you want to be a bit cheeky, yeah, ask one of them to join you. Give it a go. Because even if they don't join you, hey, they've scrimmed with you and they've thought about it, and it's going to cause some arguments in the ranks. What do you reckon? That would be the first thing I would go for.
I reckon if there's ever official rule sits on this, you're definitely getting caught for tampering at some point.
Is it tampering though? What are the rules against this? I genuinely don't know.
Absolutely not.
I genuinely don't know what can be done. I know that if a player is under contract in other esports and in real sports, if a player is under contract and you talk to the player directly, you're in big trouble. You cannot do that. You need to talk to their team, you need to talk to their organization, and then they talk to the player if you actually want to pick up a player. This happened in League of Legends a few times where a lot of the players for different teams are friends with each other and they're just like, hey, I do fancy joining our team. We'd be pretty good together. This probably happens in Rocket League. They hop into Discord or they just chat together while they're playing some ranked games or talking in the group chat. I could totally see that happening. Just hey, do I scrim a few times
North American lot? They're all in that same chat all the time.
Yeah, I think getting into the big boys Discord is often seen as something to try and do anyway. So you look at the more outsider teams, FlyQuest Allegiance players are thinking, oh, not only am I going to be joining a big lots of Twitter following or lots of Twitter followers team and get a better salary, but also gonna be getting in that Discord channel. How cool is that? Then again, I don't know what the contracts are like for FlyQuest and Allegiance. Maybe they've done their homework and they actually have those boys locked up like they should. It shouldn't be possible for your players to just go off and join another team easily, at least. Obviously, if the situation's awful and you've really provided a terrible gaming environment, then yes, I'm not saying lock up the players, stick them in a basement with no food and water. I'm saying make sure that they're not just going to ditch you.
I'm available for hire as a manager any day.
At least give them water, mate. Come on. Stay hydrated, by the way.
They can have some vodka.
Not in America. I gotta be 21 to drink. I don't think any. Is there anyone in the RLCS who's 21?
If I've locked someone in my basement, the first thing I'm worried about is legal drinking age.
Yeah, they better have their ID with them. At least if they've kept their passport.
Before I let you in here, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about FlyQuest and Allegiance because we're just getting to the end of our chat about North American teams. They have kept the same rosters as the two rosters that qualified for RLCS this season. Of course, in doing so, they eliminated Out of Style, and more probably surprisingly to a few people, CLG, so Dapper, Miho, and Timmy got knocked out by FlyQuest and Allegiance. Or did they lose twice to one of those teams? I can't remember who they lost to, but either way, goodbye CLG, hello FlyQuest, and hello again to Allegiance, who are actually they're bouncing back up after going down a couple of seasons ago. So let's talk about FlyQuest first of all. They were the team that qualified number 1 seed. They were the best team throughout the entire rival series. Do you think they're ready, Shogun, to play RLCS?
I think especially Prime Thunder has never been more ready. He's been playing, I think he was 14 when he got started.
Yeah.
I remember him eliminating me actually from the Team Rocket sub-tournament. And we were all trying to fight to get our own emote on that channel. Wow, that was even before I'd even been a part of Team Rocket.
Well, you're not wrong. Prime Thunder's never been more ready, because if he was 14, he literally wasn't ready. He's not even old enough.
I mean, straight up. He's been waiting for this moment, and I like what they bring. It's a very positive team whenever you watch FlyQuest. You know, they don't seem like a team that look at the names on the other side and go, okay, boys, well, let's just turtle up and hope for the best. They are a bunch of lads that play very positively. They'll take the game to their opponents. I think with that style of play, you can, even if we were to put them towards the lower end of the list, which I haven't even really considered just yet, but with that style of play, you're bound to nab 1 or 2 series from some people and, climb your way to safety. So, why change? Why change?
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, there are actual predictions later, but I've got high hopes for FlyQuest. They did qualify. They qualified for Gnarly ahead of EG, Ghost, Rogue, all these other teams, Allegiance, a whole bunch of other North American teams that tried to qualify. They were the 4th best team, granted, behind G2, Cloud9, and NRG. But hey, if they could come out of this season of RLCS being the 4th best team, they'd probably take that. That would be a good first season for them, make RLCS LAN. It wouldn't even be their first LAN. They've got LAN experience at Gnarly. So I think that's easily the more promising of the two teams. And I'm glad, we were joking about earlier about Rogue or Ghost poaching one of their players, but I'm glad they've stuck together because I do think they have a lot of potential. All very young guys, mechanically gifted, seemingly a positive team environment. So high hopes for that team.
It's got to feel good as well because I don't know how it feels. Obviously, we're never going to get close to this, but imagine doing all of the work, going through what is probably one of the most difficult qualifying for a premier part of the tournament in all of esports or all of competition. You got to go through the play-ins, you got to take part in the rival series, and then you've got to win that play-in tournament.
Yeah,
the promotion tournament. That's so hard to do, and then you get dropped. So I'm glad these guys are going to be able to see out the fruits of their labor. We'll see how it goes for them. Yeah.
And Allegiance are, of course, the other team. They've already given RLCS a bash 2 seasons ago, and they didn't do very well. Finished. Did they finish second last that season? They finished second last that season because they.
Wait, was it 1-6? I believe it might have been 1-6.
Yeah, but I think Dapper's team also finished 1-6, didn't they? Or was it Dapper's team?
No, because they were involved. They weren't involved.
I'm gonna open this in. I'm gonna open this in another tab. Yeah, season 4. It was season 4 North America. Yeah, it was Renegades. Renegades finished last. That was Dapper's team. Dapper, Timmy, and Moses. But then, of course,
was it Renegades?
Renegades. No, Allegiance picked up a win against someone else. Let me just check who it was. It was the then FlyQuest Corrupted G Sad Junior Chrome that they picked up a win against. So yeah, they're up against Corrupted G again. No Sad Junior Chrome.
Oh, that was the very last week as well. They did that.
Yeah. But then they got, of course, eliminated. They were the 7th seed, or they were the higher rated team going into the bracket. Then Renegades popped off and easily made it back in. And And yeah, I think it was Justin and them made it in as well. Justin Lacino and Epic joined before Justin left for NRG. So yeah, Allegiance have tried RLCS before with this exact same roster: Tyno, Tyler, Seabass, and Illusion. Didn't work out. They're giving it another go. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like similar sort of results. And I would say a good season for them would just be staying up, like not being bottom 2. That's what I would say about this team.
We were talking earlier on about NRG being patient with their rosters. I take it back. Allegiance are very patient with their roster. That to go 1-6 in a season, 0-2 and out during, or like have a pretty poor showing during the promotion stuff. Yeah, and to still stick with it, there's a level of respect that has to go with that. They were very well known as they were the follow-up from, I believe, Set to Destroy, who were also a ridiculously defensive team. I'm hoping to see less defense from them. That being said, I've put Seabass as one of my defenders in the fantasy league, so a decent amount of defense still, please. You want a lot of saves? Yeah, I want all of the saves from Seabass. He's a right steal, by the way, for that price. What price was he in fantasy? Do you know? He's like 1,175 or something like that. Oh, really? Okay. He's pretty low down. Fair enough. Pretty low down there, so he's a decent steal. The thing, did you see the promotion tournament highlights from FlyQuest and Allegiance? I didn't see the highlights. I kid you not. Like, okay, if you know nothing about FlyQuest and Allegiance and you want to educate yourself quickly before the season starts, just go to RLCS Esports channel or go to my channel, because I did a top 20 goals from the NA promotion tournament for season 5, going into season 6. So yeah, you can find highlights for this on my channel or on Rocket League Esports channel. The goals that Allegiance and FlyQuest scored in that promotion tournament, I think, were the highest density of ridiculously good quality goals that I have ever seen in any Rocket League event. And I'm talking weeks, like a weekend of RLCS, any LAN, incredible goals. Like the top end of that goal list was insane. So go check that out. I love the idea that the 2 highest quality goal series that we had last season was NRG versus Dignitas in the grand finals. Yeah, it was like FlyQuest tournament. Allegiance versus FlyQuest. No, they didn't. Did they play each other? I don't think they. Oh, they must have played each other. No, did they? Anyway, I've done. Like, I don't know. Either way, it was goals against Out of Style and CLG and each other. Yeah, incredible goals. Like they had aerial 1-2 passing plays, and AJ had one of the sickest double touches I've ever seen. It looks like he's just going up for a redirect, and then he glancing blows the ball into the near post and like torpedoes into it with a top corner boomer on a rebound. So sick. So definitely check that out. That's probably the best introduction you're going to get to those teams that you're like out of anywhere. But yeah, that's your North American. I'm seeing season 4 1.96 saves on average for Seabass. I'm feeling good about this. Yeah, definitely check out your fantasy team. Oh, like just a quick note, by the way, I think my fantasy league's been bumped up to 500 teams max. So if you've not made it in the first 250, which I did accept, by the way, then just go and apply again. I'll accept for the next 250 people who apply. So first come, first served. Have you got a fantasy league, Shogun? I do. I have the Yeet Fleet Fantasy. All right, so yeah, go check out Shogun's one as well. You win an in-game rubber duck. Did you get it expanded? You just gotta ask, like, go and message there. I literally set it up about an hour before we went live. Yeah, like message DM Rawlings. Maybe he can get you hooked up with an expansion. Ooh, get more people into the team. I've not spoken to DM in forever. I need to do that. Go hit him up because he helped me out. But that's North America, guys. 5 teams have stayed the same. Cloud9, G2, NRG, FlyQuest, and Allegiance. Same rosters. Evil Geniuses, Ghost Gaming, and Rogue have all made one change. But in Europe, it's a little bit more different. Messy. A little bit more of a new look. So the only 2 teams have kept the same rosters as last season. They are Dignitas and Flipside Tactics. Dignitas, the 2-time world champions. Let's start with them. Violent Panda, KDOP, Turbo Pulsar. They won 2 world championships in a row. They didn't change their roster going into the season. What a surprise. Tell me your thoughts, Shogun. Shocking. 2 thumbs up on this roster move. You're the world champions. You won gnarly. There's nothing else to say. We might as well move on quickly. They're the team to beat this season. They're the reason why everyone else is moving. And the other team that stayed the same, like you said, is Flipside.
Yukio, Cuxer, and Mystic. I remember Mystic tweeted after Gnarly. He said, thanks to Cuxer and Yukio. Or maybe it was after they failed to qualify for LAN, because they played they played okay in the attempt to qualify. They were trying to come back against Envy, who they have had a bad matchup against in the past. I think it was after Gnarly. The Mystic said, thanks to my teammates Cuxer and Yukio for making my job as a team captain very easy in the off-season. And of course by that I think he means he's not going to change, like he doesn't want to change anything or anyone. Do you think that was a little bit early to be putting all his eggs in Yukio and Cuxer's basket, or what do you reckon about that? Is that a good? Is this a good idea? Is this a good thing for Flipside fans?
If it's pretty much immediately afterwards, you were never going to be able to change his mind on it. He clearly sees something in there. He clearly sees potential, and so full of we. In periods, it's just like the week RLCS finished. Not even like the RLCS, but the actual online play for it. As soon as the promotion or the play-ins were finished for, I've lost all my words. The playoffs. There we are. It's because everything starts off with play.
It does, yeah. They need better names.
We need less of this.
Yeah.
As soon as that was done, they started annihilating Dignitas, and they were winning everything. Tournament after tournament after tournament. And as we get closer and closer to the actual RLCS kicking itself back up, they've started to cool off a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can understand entirely, especially if you take that time frame of, even if they wanted to make changes, it would have been too late, because by the time they start to cool off, no one's really available. It's not really worth making any changes so close to the deadline. So it entirely makes sense. It's just a case of, can they hit that form again?
Yeah. Do you think do you think that they just got really unlucky and peaked at the wrong time? Like, getting good at that point. Like, they beat Dignitas 3 times in 3 different series in league play. Then they beat them twice qualifying for Gnarly 2 as a top seed. And then they made top 3 at Gnarly, but obviously they got swept by Dignitas. That was a huge disappointment. I think like that, when they got swept by Dignitas, they should have thought, okay, hold on a second, maybe it's not all, if it's not all really, really good over here, maybe we should take a look at this. Maybe we should see, can we improve? I'm not saying they should have made a roster change. I think staying with that roster, that's fine. But I don't know if they've put in enough work to really make Flipside fans happy going into this season. Not 100% sure about that.
If I just look at their results very quickly, there's been 3 major tournaments for them. And you can see the slide going on. Gnarly, 3rd. The Play, 9th. Coliseum, 9th to 16th. There was a lot more going with the Coliseum. That was probably, a bit easier for them to get a bit of a higher seed.
Then
again, that's less them getting beat by fellow RLCS competitors, and this has been more the off-season dominated by the European bubble.
Didn't they lose to like Blitzers or something?
I think everyone's lost to Blitzers, Clappers, Triple Trouble, you name them. An RLCS team has probably lost to them.
Yeah. It's not like a disaster. Like we were talking about on NRG earlier, saying, they've not had the greatest offseason because they went from the best team by far in North America to losing a couple of series to Cloud9 back to back, which is not ideal. They want to be beating Cloud9. They don't want to be losing, but it's not terrible. Obviously, that's off season, and it's off season if you're doing badly. That's okay, as long as you pick it up when RLCS comes around. Which, by the way, is what Complexity did last season. They were doing terribly in the off season. Then they picked it up in RLCS, finished top 2, and they came 3rd at LAN. So it's not completely out the window yet for Flipside, but they need to get their act together. They've got to get their heads down if they're going to make this roster work, because there's a lot of teams in this league who have made roster changes and are coming at them. So let's any other thoughts before we talk about one of them?
So I want to build on your point now. It's just a case of these teams that have been able to build as well have got so much talent to pick from, because there's going to be no player out there that doesn't want to just skip the rival series and go straight into RLCS. So you've got a wealth of talent that, these Fnatics, these MouseSports, these PSGs, Vitality, Dem Girlz, everyone has been able to go, oh, you want to skip that? Yeah, but you'll go, all right, come on, come over here. We'll take you.
Come on in. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely not going to be an easy season for Flipside. I don't think it's going to be an easy season for anybody in the EU, but that's, what's changed. It's always going to be like that. Let's talk about complexity. We did say that they had a terrible off-season last season, and then they picked it up going into league play. Well, this time they've had an equally bad off-season, maybe even worse, I would say. And they've made a change as well. They've dropped Metsenoris. The long-standing Magnus-Metsenoris duo is broken up, and they've grabbed Greasy, which won't come as a surprise to anybody who knows how friendly Greasy and a lot are. But people who are familiar with their playstyles might be scratching their heads and thinking, is this really a good idea? I saw Greasy and a lot doing a Road to Champ series on YouTube. That didn't look like Rocket League. So yeah, Shogun, as someone who does know what Rocket League looks like, what do you think about complexity?
Okay, I'll let you have that meme. I'll let you have it. You didn't do it immediately off a kickoff goal. It's interesting. I think Metza had to be moved on. I think even no Metza knew that he had to be moved on. He had a very lackluster season overall. He had a very lackluster LAN. Despite the love that he got from Team 104 and the rest of the crowd, which was absolutely incredible. The question now becomes is, why did they bring Greasy in? And I think this team could be a complete flop or be absolute madhouses. We just haven't seen it yet, but it also feels like a team that could just click at any moment and suddenly become absolutely terrifying. I think Greasy absolutely deserves his spot in the RLCS. He has been working so hard ever since being dropped down. I feel like this team might have been picked more of a case of being friends rather than business.
Yeah.
I want to be wrong on that, but it's the way I see it.
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm just going to preface this by saying I don't know what went on behind the scenes. I don't have any idea why Complexity either dropped Metza, or if they did, maybe he was, maybe we Dem Girlz nabbed him. And then they had to fill his shoes. But if I was, like we talked about earlier, if there were managers in Rocket League, honestly, I wouldn't be breaking up a Metsenoris Magnus duo as a manager. Just gonna be honest. Like, I wouldn't do it. Some people would. Some people would say, but look at a lot's goal off the ceiling last season. That was amazing. You can't kick a player who can do that. But to that I say, yes, you can.
I mean,
you can.
Those
kick
are
a player
100% the people that are saying I should be Grand Champ. I've hit a ceiling shot.
Yeah,
like
it
takes 20 simple goals over one fantastic one.
Absolutely. So I don't know if breaking up Metz and Magnus, like picking up Greasy, yep. I'm even gonna say like a lot. I think certainly used to think Greasy was the best player in the world, and Greasy was the player that a lot used to like model his play around. So if you're Metza and Magnus, you think, well, we've got this teammate a lot who models his play after Greasy. Greasy's kind of like still really good and really fast. Why don't we just try playing with Greasy instead? I don't know if that ever happened. I'm just like speculating. But I would have been curious to see how that team would have worked out. That being said, I really hope this team does well, because a lot and Magnus and Greasy are all really fantastic guys. Hopefully that translates onto the field, because they've had a terrible offseason. They really have. They've not had many good series wins over just about anyone.
No. It's incredible, because you look at this and you say every single player on this team is top class.
Yeah.
And you put them together and suddenly you just go, but are you sure though?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They're going to be the most entertaining team to watch all season.
They're probably going to like lose their first 4 series, and then they're just going to 3-0 somebody in week 5. Or do they have, week 4 rather. They do have 2 series in week 4. Yeah, this is what's going to happen, right? They're going to get clapped by PSG, clapped by Dem Girlz, clapped by Mouse, clapped by Vitaly. They're going to go 0-4. Then they're going to come out in week 4 and just 3-0 Fnatic and Dignitas and leave everybody scratching their heads. That's the Complexity season in a nutshell. But yeah, we could talk about Complexity all day. It's such an interesting pickup. Does being really good friend, like if there's ever a test for does being good friends make you a good team in Rocket League, this is it. Because a lot and Greasy are great friends, and Magnus is a points per game machine. I mean, they've obviously changed the way points per game works now, with all of the nerfs to how many points you get in various situations in Rocket League. But Magnus is still a beast. Like, I think you could easily argue he's a top 10 player in the world still. Very, very interesting team. So I'm so interested. They've got to be like easily one of the teams that I'm the most curious to see how they're going to perform.
They are the wild card if we put the wild card in gasoline and set it on fire.
Yeah, and they threw it into a hurricane.
Oh yeah.
And then left it there for a couple of weeks. Like complexity, I have no idea what to think about this team. All right, let's talk about PSG. Let's move on and talk about some more European roster changes. So, a lot of you will be aware about the PSG drama around surrounding the roster, but in case you weren't, Ferra, Chaussette, and Bluey are no longer all together. Bluey had a couple of, little bit toxic Discord DMs leaked, or was it Twitter DMs? I don't really know. I don't really care. Either way, he didn't really seem to have a lot of faith in his teammates, so they kicked him, and they got Fruity instead, who's an up-and-coming player in Europe right now, keyboard and mouse player, so second keyboard and mouse player for Europe alongside Yukio of Flipside. And yeah, goodbye Bluey. He's made it back into the rival series with Devo and Alpha. I know there's a lot of Bluey fans, but Fruity he's got large shoes to fill, at least in terms of mechanical skill and individual ability on the field. Probably not so much in terms of communication and positivity, but that's another story. What do you think about Fruity and PSG, Shogun?
It's actually something that I was looking forward to seeing, because every time you speak to anyone about PSG, they immediately say that Bluey is the talisman. And yeah. I don't know your opinions on this, but me and Gibbs have always disagreed.
Who's your talisman?
Chaussette.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say
Chaussette's always been the talisman for me. He's such an unbelievably talented, fundamental player.
Since seasons ago, by the way. He's been carrying teams since season 1. He's always been a carry.
He's got the Johnny Boy philosophy of carrying whilst being unnoticed. Difference is he actually carries.
Yeah, no, he actually doesn't own goal a lot and scores a lot of goals in the correct net. Like the kid's incredible. He's very, very good. It's such an interesting one though. Like I think it's overall a good thing. And let's just say, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but I hope the best for Bluey. I hope he gets his stuff figured out. And I'm really happy to see that he's qualified for the rival series, and they've got a real shot at making top 2 if they can get their act together. Put their heads down, grind. That's another story though. Speaking about PSG, I think it was a great idea to kick him. Like when I saw those DMs, I was like, that's not right. This shouldn't be happening.
Even if you as a team are still fine, like you sort of put it away. As an org, you sort of have to just move it on anyway, because you can't be seen to be disrespected like that as an org. So he had to be moved on. Fruity, though, I don't think he saw this opportunity coming. He's going to take this. I don't think anyone's going to be looking at this season with more passion and seeing this as more of an opportunity than Fruity is. And I mean, we look at the results for them. He's taking the most of it. The play, they sort of struggled a little bit, but everyone did. And then they won the Coliseum. He's having a great time. I think PSG is the greatest example we have of a team rather than individuals.
Yeah.
And like Complexity, I'm very interested to see how that works.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Fruity does for PSG. Very, very excited. And I do think Chaussette's going to be the standout player for that team. And Ferra is just like the grandfather, just the one that has got all the wisdom. And everybody's going to ask him, okay, Ferra, how do we come back and win this series? He's just going to say, we just have to, it's a best of 5, so we just have to win 3 games in a row. Oh, okay, no problem, Ferra, let's do that. It sounds like a good plan. But let's talk about some more roster changes, because we're going to come back and do a little summary at the end here. But let's talk about Vitality. Another team have picked up a new player, and another very interesting one. So Pashi, Freaky, and Fairy Peak were the Vitality roster last season. They kind of did the best that they looked was E-League at the end of last year, where they finished. Actually, no, they didn't look too bad at DreamHack either. But yeah, E-League, they finished top 3. They're 3rd, 4th. And then in DreamHack, I think they did the same thing. They actually knocked out Gale Force at the time, now Dignitas. So for a while, it was looking like they were going to be really good. And even going into RLCS Season 5, Turbopulse had tweeted that Vitality's looking really scary. But then come LAN, they didn't do very well. And they dropped Freaky. And now they've gone with Scrub Killer. So first question that I have for you, because there's a lot of questions related to Team Vitality, is do you think dropping Freaky is the strongest thing that team could have done, the most powerful move? In terms of, do you think Freaky was the weak link overall as a player?
I don't think that's the reason why they dropped Freaky.
No, that's not what I asked. Do you think he was the weakest player? Do you think so?
I don't think he was the weakest player, but there was never a question about if he was going to be the one to be dropped.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But yeah, like I think I can agree with you there. Like he wasn't the weakest player, but it was a drop that I saw coming. You know, Fairy Peak is never gonna is Fairy Peak gonna get benched from any team? I don't think so.
Not within the next 10 seasons.
Yeah, and like with the current system of RLCS where 2 players have to be the same, like is Pashy's always going to be the one to initiate that. And yeah, Fairy Peak does like playing with Pashy, so it was always going to happen. But yeah, it's put a large weight on Pashy's shoulders for this season because Freaky has been dropped from the team, and he was a very good player, and I think still is RLCS caliber. And now Pashy's got to prove that he is, because a couple of seasons ago he had a really good league play. Last season he did not. This season is really make or break for him as an individual.
And we haven't even got on to the main part of this roster change.
Exactly, yeah.
Freaky is out.
All right,
that's Scrub Killer.
Yeah, you talk about this one then. What do you think about Scrub coming in?
I think Vitality have played a MasterCard and getting Scrub. I mean, once again, it's more a case of who got him, and getting him improves you no matter what. There's not a single team. There's a couple of teams here that I could look at and just go, you wouldn't be improved by Scrub Killer. Pretty much everyone would be.
Yeah.
Scrub, you know the storylines by everyone, Reddit, journalism, pretty much everything's going to be whether or not Scrub's going to perform. Scrub's going to perform.
Oh, I think
Scrub's
so, yeah.
Always going to perform. And I think this roster is actually good for Scrub because he's not the one with the most pressure at the moment. It's a case of this team can be world beaters if Pashy can perform at a level that is similar to Fairy Peak and Scrub Killer, who are terrifying to play against. So it's either a case of he's going to be up there with them, or he's going to have to take a step back and become a little bit more defensive, which is going to be hard for him to do because he had the lowest saves per game last season throughout the entirety of Europe.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. The season he did look really good in league plays when he scored like absolute bags and bags of goals. So are Scrub and Fairy going to be the ones to sit back and just say, Pashy, all right, go on up front, see what happens? Maybe. Scrub is a real beast in defense. If he can just avoid losing faith in his teammates when they go up for a ball and say they've got it, he's got to just believe them and stay on the deck. And if he can, not panic and steal people's saves and hit the ball in sidewalls, he could probably be the best defender in the world, I think, for 3v3. He's always been famous for that since years ago, before RLCS was even a thing. But I definitely agree, it would be hard to... I think all the teams who say, nah, we didn't want Scrub, I think they're just being proud and they're probably just acting as if like that wasn't the case, just to make themselves look better. Like everybody was probably thinking about it, if nothing else. Like, okay, how could we get Scrub into our team? Who would we drop? What would that look like? Well, we're about to find out in just a couple of days now and see how Vitality do this weekend. All right, we're going to move on. Let's talk about Dem Girlz. They've also made a roster change. Okay, yeah, Europe roster change. What a surprise. Remco and Ignite staying together, and they've dropped Devo, which shouldn't come as a surprise to too many people, I think, who are kind of aware of how little Rocket League Devo was playing last season. But more interestingly, perhaps, is they've picked up Mets and Oris, which has broken up that Magnus-Metza duo from Complexity. And also, I think this might be news to some people, got in a player who has actually played a lot with Ignite and Remco, because they've been doing a lot of six-mans. They're three of the players who had the highest games played in six-mans for many, many months, and I know that they do enjoy playing together even before they became a team. So yeah, what are your thoughts about Dem Girlz, formerly Envy, now no organization? What are you expecting from them this season, Shogun?
I actually expect big things. I have never let it be secret that I am a huge fan of Ignite. I love what he does. I think I have been ever since, we started seeing him a lot more during the Gfinity Elite Series.
Yep.
I love the fact that he was tweeting out the other day that, I'm not getting anywhere with Rocket League. I'm playing bad. I just don't know whether or not I see a future in it. Day afterwards, he gets second in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Only losing to PSG. It's sort of the proof of don't take a Rocket League player's word for everything because they very much live in the moment.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He needs results going his way. That's the only sort of slight on Ignite there really is he's a very emotional, in the moment sort of player that if results going against him, he can get a little bit in his own head. I think Metza is going to really enjoy this because last season he was forced to play a lot of defense. Him and Magnus were forced to play a lot of defense that he just never looked comfortable with. But if you're ever on a team with Remco, you're guaranteed one thing, and that is solid rotation. So he's going to enjoy a lot more play time and a lot more time on the ball. Dem Girlz are going to be scary this season, I reckon.
Oh, yeah. That's a very scary team. Very, very scary team. For different reasons than like PSG, I would say, who have a little bit more like unpredictability about them. Dem Girlz are just going to be brutal to play against. Like you said, the rotation is going to be so clean. And the passing plays are just going to be so unstoppably brilliant. Like they are just going to play solid Rocket League, and really excited to see that because you don't need like. And I don't mean to be like sound like I'm throwing shade at players who are flashy and score good, like really really cool goals, but you don't need that in Rocket League. You just need to be really really solid, and that's like what Ignite is to me. And it's also like what Metza is, but maybe to a slightly lesser degree. And maybe we'll see him be solid to a higher degree this season because he's in a more solid team and not in a team that relies a bit more on flashy plays. Well, Mets and Magnus, they've always been considered pretty good all-rounders, I would say.
Yeah.
It's just the a lot factor that really made that the former complexity team that Mets used to be a part of so crazy. So yeah, this is a really, really promising team. I think that's one of the best pickups for me.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
season.
I can't wait for it.
I think we'll go through at the end there and rank. We'll talk about like the actual roster changes one more time in summary and just say which ones we think were good, which ones were the best. But let's talk about the final two. So the new team coming into RLCS EU this season is MouseSports. They qualified as Servette. Two other players remain the same. That's Alex161 making his RLCS debut, I believe, and Skyline coming back. He was in RLCS way back at the beginning. I think season 2 definitely, probably season 1. Not sure about season 3, but he's back.
He was Precision Z season 2.
Yeah, Precision Z season 2. That was his peak. He finished off 5th place at the RLCS Amsterdam finals.
I mean, that's with K-Dop.
Yeah.
I would always add an asterisk with anyone with K-Dop.
Yeah, that was like when K-Dop was just starting to get really good. But yeah, Skyline was on that team and he played well. Got knocked out by Rizzo in the 4th-5th place match. But Tigray, I don't know. I call him Tigray.
It's Tigray. I got shouted about this during the promotion tournament.
Tigray.
I could have called him Tigray.
Tigreee. Like last time I saw Reee, it was pronounced Re, not Ray.
That's what I kept pronouncing. I kept saying Tigray, and apparently that's wrong.
Has he said this himself, or has some other commentator decided how to pronounce it? What's the deal here?
I can't remember where I got told from. But someone told me. So it is apparently Tigray.
Forget that. Tigray.
Tigray is a bad name, but you know what? There's some good meme potential.
It's a good thing about being a commentator. You can just choose how people, like a player tells you, actually, this is how my name's pronounced, and you say, okay then, but I've got the microphone. Tigray.
Shout out to EXO.
So let's just wait and see what. I don't know what the RLCS commentators are going to call it. They'll probably come up with something completely different.
I can never pronounce the European names. I can never talk on this sort of stuff.
But yeah, Alex161, Tigray, and Skyline. I think we can probably all agree that they're the underdog going into this season of RLCS. Their star player actually was, in fact, Mummy Snow, I think, in Rival Series last season. Although Skyline had a very good promotion tournament as well. Alex161's kind of just been the third for that team, although he does have his moments. Tigray, their pickup is like a really, really good player, but if they had got rid of someone that wasn't Mummy Snow and picked up Tigray, they surely would have been better off, like from a talent standpoint. What do you think about that, Shogun?
There's so many questions regarding just this one change, which is and we'll get into it when we get into Fnatic in just a second. Like, who made the first move?
Yeah, who did it first?
Who actually wanted to... Did you even pick up the correct team secret player?
Yeah, true.
Flame.
True. Flame was a good shot.
I said last season Flame was going to be an RLCS player this season.
Yeah, and Tylacto is also on that team, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if they even picked up the right player in that. There's so much to one package.
Yeah.
And for the time being, the results aren't phenomenal. So
yeah,
they're going to be fighting to stay up, I reckon.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They've got a chance. I don't know. It's just a weird swap. I think like Alex161 and Tigri play a lot in tournaments together. So I figured that they were just friends and they wanted to be in teams together. And Tigri's like, oh, I'm supposed to qualify with Team Secret, but we failed. Here, Alex, hook me up. Get me a team. And then Alex is like, all right, Mummy Snow, Skyline, flip a coin. Oh, man, got to get rid of Mummy Snow. I don't know what the deal is there. Maybe they just didn't like Mummy Snow's playstyle. Maybe they didn't get along. Maybe Fnatic grabbed him and then they had to find a replacement. But either way, I don't think this is one of the better roster changes. No. Not because Tigri is a bad player, but because Mummy Snow's really, really, really good. And he's never looked better. So much needs to improve for MouseSports for them to have any chance. Right, finally, Fnatic. You did hint at this. So Mummy Snow is joining Maestro and Snasky. The Danish duo has become a Danish trio. Before the Coliseum, where Maestro, Snasky, and Mummy Snow defeated Team Dignitas, which was, I believe, their first loss since winning RLCS Season 5. 5. What did you think about this team when you heard that they picked up Mummy Snow? What was your initial thoughts?
I thought... once I heard it, I was like, okay, have you moved the correct player out to start with? And secondly, it's a positive change, but is it that significant compared to what everyone else is doing? That was my initial thoughts. Yeah.
I'll answer your first question there. I think they did move the right player out. Like, Siki is a very, very talented player, and he's had lots of success with very, like, completely different rosters and completely different seasons. But I think Maestro is the best player in that team. And Snasky is the player on that team who's got the best work ethic. So I think keeping both of them makes sense from those two perspectives. And they've probably had the most play time together as well. They are good friends. They've been playing together since before RLCS even started, Maestro and Snasky. So I think they probably did drop the right player, arguably unlike a few other teams. But yeah, Mummy Snow is a very bold pickup. That is, like, I don't know how many options Fnatic had. Granted, they didn't have a great season last season. They didn't look phenomenal. Didn't qualify for an early. They were down into relegation, so they had to fight back. They actually lost to Team Secret and then beat them on the second time to get back in after Team Secret had a heartbreak loss to MouseSports. So, like, Fnatic got a real lucky break there. They could have easily been down. They could have very, very easily been down and out this season and in rival series. But yeah, Mummy Snow's, he's looking good, and I think that's a really bold pickup, and I'm really excited to see how it works out. I'm really happy that I've grabbed him, honestly, because when I heard that he'd been kicked off MouseSports, I was like, are you kidding me? Mummy Snow's just had his best season ever, and now he's kicked off the RLCS team he qualified for. Oh, never mind, he's made it. He's back in with Fnatic. Yeah, so very happy about that from a personal and from a talent standpoint.
I think they had to make the move, no matter what. The way I described Fnatic last season was, you can dislike some teams' play because they aren't talented enough to play better. I disliked Fnatic's play because they were more than capable of playing better than they were, and they seemed to be pigeonholed into the most basic style of gameplay. There was never any spark when you saw them. It was very much a case of, here's the most basic way we can go about this. Let's just try not make any mistakes. And Siki, his style of play has always been based around positioning. That's what he does best. He holds a rotation well. If you want to snap a lack of creativity on your team, unfortunately, he's the one that's got to go, because he's the one that is sort of holding the mold of sorts. Then you bring in someone like Mummy Snow. Suddenly there's a bit of color on that team. Suddenly there's a little bit of excitement happening, and it's exactly what they needed.
And a complete Danish team, which is pretty cool.
It's nice.
It's
starting to see some national identity.
That's cool. You know what else is cool? We've got the trifecta in complexity: Norway, Sweden, and Finland for the first time, all together in one team.
It's the Vikings at long last.
So yeah, the Vikings for complexity, and then all of the other teams in RLCS.
PSG will always be associated with France.
Yeah, if they'd picked up a French player, it would have
Paris.
been perfect. Not that we have anything against Fruity. They've got a French
Let's
substitute.
get Fruity out, get yourself moved over.
Yeah, they got Mout in sub spots, so that's the full French roster, kind of. And I mean, same thing for MouseSports. They've got Frag substituting for them, who is German, a lot like Tigray and Alex. So they're almost all German over there. Like, it would be nice. It would be really cool if teams started doing that, just picking up like actual full nationality squads. Over in America, I think there's actually 3 teams who have that. FlyQuest, NRG, and Rogue are all full American teams. G2, Allegiance, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, and Ghost all have 1 Canadian playing for them. So you can go and you can have a little bit of trivia. I'll leave that one for you guys to guess who the Canadians are if you don't already know. Okay, so we've talked about all the teams. Next thing we're going to do 2 more things. Well, we'll do a couple more things this stream, but for this podcast segment, we're going to talk about just the roster changes. We're going to try and like put them in some sort of rank to see which ones we thought were the best, which ones we thought were the worst. So in America, there's only 3 roster changes.
This is the easier one.
So we've got Chicago in for Chrome for Evil Geniuses, Memory in for Matt for Ghost, and Joro in for Insolences for Rogue. Can you rank them 1, 2, and 3 there? Best, middle, and worst.
Number 1, Rogue, because you just had, mostly because of who went out. You had to do it. So they get number 1. Evil Geniuses in 2, and I'll put Ghost in number 3.
I'm gonna agree with your number 3. Number 1, I reckon, like picking up Chicago isn't like he's a good enough player that I'm gonna give that number 1 over Rogue. Even though, like you said, out of all the 3 players who got benched or got dropped, Matt, Insolences, and Chrome, I think Insolences is by far the player who like needed to be benched the most. Like Chicago is the best pickup there.
Yeah.
As well. So I reckon you could put Evil Geniuses or Rogue. They're the best 2 changes. Ghost is a question mark. But
my entire thing there is based upon if I take where do I predict you with your old roster versus where do I predict you with your new roster.
Yeah.
You don't move Insolences out, you're 8th. You ain't even turning up to half of your matches because you guys are going to hate each other.
Disqualified. He's not even going to be there.
Just disqualified.
I don't even know. Is he even still playing Rocket League? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, this isn't like we're not starting a hate train or anything. Like, we're just genuinely not sure. But yeah, I reckon that's 2 good pickups. Rogue and Evil Geniuses, yeah, good moves. Ghost, questionable. That's what I would say. It could be the worst change, but still be a good one. But here, I think it's actually like I'm not sure if it was a good swap. But we'll have to wait and see. Memory is promising. All right, Europe, 6 changes. So.
Gotta look at this quickly.
We've got Greasy in for Metsinoris for Complexity. We've got Metsinoris in for Devo for Dem Girlz, formerly Envy. We've got Scrubkiller in for Freaky for Vitality. Fruity in for Bluey for PSG. Then we have Tiggery in for Mummy Snow at MouseSports. And Mummy Snow in for Sicky at Fnatic. Who got the best roster swap out of all them? Which was the best one?
Have you got an idea to start us off? Because I got nothing at the moment.
Well, if we're thinking along the same lines for the American roster swaps, I mean, for me, Chicago was the best pickup. Insolences was the best bench. So if I'm thinking who's the best pickup, like, who got the best player?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think
it's easy on that one.
I don't know if it is. I think it's like a bit of a toss-up, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna write off Tigray, Mummy Snow, Fruity from that equation. Greasy, I think, as well. I'm gonna take him out of that equation as well because he's had a season off. But Metsa might be the best pickup, I think, even ahead of Scrubkiller. That is such a power play that they've taken him away from Complexity and got him in Dem Girlz. Like, that is huge.
I will say Scrub purely because no one else got him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think you look at some of the other teams and you give them Scrub Killer, they take over Vitality.
Yeah.
And Vitality is a team that needs, some star players in order to try and keep up with Dignitas. So I have to go Vitality here.
And then if we're thinking about the player who needed to be benched the most, I mean, honestly, I don't think Mummy Snow needed to be benched from MouseSports from an outsider perspective. Sicky, a question, did he really need to be benched? Probably not. Freaky, nah, not really. They were alright, but yeah, I suppose I could see the reasoning why. Like, I think the 2 players that needed to be benched the most were Devo and Bluey. Devo because of the hours he's put into the game, and Bluey because he just wasn't working with that team anymore. Like, it seemed to be a pretty toxic environment. So for that reason, I think Fruity is a huge pickup as well. Just because, or getting Fruity instead of Bluey is a really, really good transfer. Just because you've managed to replace a player who seemed to be making Chaussette and Pharah play worse because he just didn't believe in them anymore, and now Pharah and Chaussette are looking much better again. So that's, I think, I reckon they're the top 3 for me. Like Metza to Dem Girlz, Scrub to Vitality, and Fruity to PSG. Although I also do like Mummy Snow to Fnatic as well. I think they're all 4 very good transfers. So what do you think about the Mummy Snow to Fnatic and Fruity to PSG? Where would you rank them?
I think Mummy Snow to Fnatic is a great pickup for Fnatic. You can already see how much better it's made them play. Mm-hmm. My goodness, they look like a completely different team. What was the other team? Fruity to
PSG, yeah. Instead of Bluey.
I mean, if you just said the words Fruity for Bluey to me before we saw anything, I'd have been a little bit cautious. I wouldn't have dismissed it because clearly they would have done it for some reason. Now that I've seen it being played out, it's a very good pick. Yeah. It's a very good pick. You just need to question Fruity's ability to now take what he's done with less pressure on him and apply it to the biggest stage where, you've only got 7 games all season.
Yeah.
You need him to perform all the time. We're not too sure on that just yet.
Yeah. It's so tough. Like, honestly, Fruity to PSG or Mummy Snow to Fnatic could turn out to be the best swap by the end of the season. We just have to see how good these teams can play. But I think I like both those changes after seeing them play together. And just on paper as well. Greasy to Complexity. Like, Greasy's so good as a player.
This is the
I don't like this swap
pickup,
though.
and this is the worst pickup all at the same time.
Like, I honestly feel bad saying this because I know all these guys and they're all very good players and they're all great personalities, but I've got to see it. Like, I've got to see. I really hope that they show up to this season as well as Complexity did last season after a terrible off-season last season, because they've had a really bad off-season this season, and they've even tweeted out that, okay, things are going pretty badly, we need to make some changes before week 1. So yeah, for now
I want to strip that team back to basics. Don't get fancy, go to normal, just play.
I honestly think like they should have tried to keep Metza, get Greasy in as substitute, and just swap like Greasy in a lot.
No way Greasy would come in as a sub.
Yeah, well, get Greasy in a lot. Like, no, I completely agree. But how much leverage does he really got when he's a sub for another team? Like, is he?
But I mean, we've both spoken to Greasy. Would he not just try for a rival series at that point?
Would he? Maybe. I don't know. Would he? Like, there were some rumors for a while like Greasy and Scrub were going to team up for the rival series quals, and then they both actually just got starting positions on RLCS teams. It's a tough one. I want to see it work, but I've also got to see it work before I'm gonna give that one my blessing. For now, though, I'm not sold on that change. It's like, it's question marks. And they know that as well. Like, we're not knocking their confidence at all. They are fully. We're just like telling them what they already know. Like, they know they're not playing well.
One thing I like now about the pros. First 2 years of this game being out, if you even thought about criticizing these lads, they took it very personally. Now people realize, like, yo, we're not out here trying to say, oh, we don't want you to succeed. We're just saying we don't think it will.
It's not likely. I wouldn't put my money on it, but like, it could happen. Like, they're all very good players. They just need to figure out a way to stop being huge beanbags at the same time. The last change, MouseSports, getting Tigray in for Mummy Snow, like, I think that might just be, like, on paper, the worst change in Europe. Either that or, like, dropping, I think benching Metza is never, that's, like, hard to be a good idea for any team. So it's, like, it's probably just as bad of a bench as Complexity. But then, of course,
overall, we can agree Dem Girlz had the best one.
Yeah, I think so. I think even better than Scrub Killer to Vitality, Dem Girlz have probably
I've
the most
changed
powerful.
my opinion on that. It's Dem Girlz.
But, PSG could be the best one. I'm going to withhold my judgment on that for at least a week, because I don't know how well Fruity's going to do in RLCS. This is his RLCS debut. But that could be the one. Who knows? Maybe even Mummy Snow, maybe even Greasy to Complexity. They might show up like they did last season. Yeah, I love Europe. It's like it's so difficult to predict. But let's try it. Let's try our best. We're gonna go back over to North America. The last thing we're gonna do tonight before we take questions from chat, that is predict who we think is gonna win North American RLCS. We're also gonna predict who we think makes LAN. We're not gonna do any rank predict. Like, we don't have to make rank predictions. You can if you want to, but I think this early on, it's
who
just
wins,
who's making.
Who gets in are the only important things.
Yeah, and then we'll also say who goes down. You know, who wins, who gets into RLCS, LAN, and who gets down into promotions or into relegations. So that's the 3 questions for you, Shogun.
Okay. Looking at this, winner Cloud9. Who gets in? Cloud9, NRG, Evil Geniuses, and G2. I don't think G2 have dropped out of that bottom 4, that top 4. So those are my lads.
Oof.
It's a bit hard, but I think they'll find form.
Okay, and who goes down?
Who goes down? Allegiance and Ghost.
Oh wow.
They're bottom 2. They're not going down.
Yeah, they're going to go to relegation. So we don't know who they're going to play against in relegations, but we know who they have to play against to stay out of bottom 2. So that's a fair question, I think. I agree with you. I think Cloud9, this is their season to win North America. I'm not going to say that it's their season to win RLCS, but I think it's their season to win North America. They're looking fantastic. And NRG, I think, are going to be right behind them going to LAN, and so are Evil Geniuses. I think Chicago's going to be like the rookie of the season. Possibly for the entire RCS, but that's like that's also up in the air because there's Fruity for PSG, Scrub Killer for Vitality, Mummy Snow for Fnatic over in Europe. So a little bit of competition for him, but yeah, I think he's making RLCS as well. Who gets the 4th RLCS spot is so tough to predict. It really is. Is it G2 or is it FlyQuest? Is it Rogue? I think that Allegiance and Ghost do finish bottom 2. I'll say that right now. I think you're right about that. Just because I like how Jacob's been playing recently for Rogue. I've been very impressed, and I think FlyQuest are also impressive. Oh man, that's so hard. Who makes LAN, G2, Rogue, or FlyQuest? I think, honestly, it really might be the season of Rogue.
Yeah.
It really might be. And the reason I think this is not because I think Rogue are going to get top 4 in league play, but with the current playoff structure, they only need to get 6th place, and then they have a chance, right? I think, well, if you get 6th, then you'd have to play against who finishes 3rd, which is probably EG, so you want to avoid that. But yeah, if they can finish 5th, and then they go into a playoff game, it's still the same like format as last season, isn't it, right?
Yeah, it hasn't changed at all.
I don't like the format, by the way. I think it's rubbish, but like the way that it is, Rogue are probably going to end up playing against G2 or FlyQuest in that 4th, 5th spot. So yeah, that's really their season. If they could finish top 5 in RLCS, I think that they could definitely show up in a playoffs and beat G2. They could do that. Yeah, like G2 have thrown playoffs before.
Rogue are a very good shout. That was what I was mulling around in my head, and I just went.
It's so hard.
Go for it.
I honestly, when I started the sentence, I didn't know what I was going to say. I'd not made my decision yet. Like FlyQuest I think on like actual talent is probably the best team. Like that team has such great potential. Very, very good players, but I think they're also so inexperienced. So that's going to be a weakness going into things like playoffs. Whereas Rogue, they've got the sort of, they've got that experience for a start, but they've also got the sort of wild aspect to them, to their play. Like if they can just end up in a playoff series against G2, that could be G2 throwing a playoff series again, and all fans being disappointed. Who knows though? Who knows? It's really, really tough. The middle of the table for NA is so interesting. And then we've got EU, where the whole table is just
you thought that was tough.
Yeah, EU is just a whole table. The whole table is the middle of the table. So, okay, same 3 questions. Who's going to win Europe, RLCS? Who's going to qualify for LAN? And who's going to go down to promotion relegation tournament?
So I'm actually not going to say Dignitas going to win this one, purely because it's too safe, it's too boring. If I say Dignitas win this one and it ends up being right, you get 0 kudos.
This is winning playoffs, by the way, that we're talking about, of course.
Yes, winning playoffs. I'm going to say Dem Girlz make a run during the playoffs.
Okay.
And they win that. To make it all the way through to the LAN, Dem Girlz, Dignitas, Vitality, PSG.
Oh, no Fnatic.
No Fnatic.
No Fnatic, no Flipside, no Complexity. Oh my goodness.
I mean, literally, no matter which way I put this, it does not sound good at all.
This is really, really tough. Okay, and who goes down to, who's bottom 2 into relegations?
I'm going to put Mouse, MouseSports in one of them. The whole question here becomes, do complexity click?
Yeah.
But if complexity click, I've got to put them in my top 4. I haven't put them in my top 4, so in this scenario, complexity have not clicked, so they're in my bottom 2.
All right.
That felt bad to say as well.
Man, this is actually so hard. If anybody can get this right in Europe, if somebody can correctly guess the winner, the 4 LAN teams, and the 2 teams that are going to go down to relegations, like, well played. Very, very impressive guessing. I'll start off by saying I think Flipside are probably just going to finish exactly like they did last season, like in a 5th or 6th spot. MouseSports, I think, are going down. I'm doing this backwards, alright? I think MouseSports are going down.
Yeah.
I think they're going down. I think Dignitas are making LAN. I'll say that. I'm not going to say that. Oh, you got complexity jersey as well. Yeah, I think Dignitas are making LAN. I think Dem Girlz are making LAN for sure. Then the real question is PSG, Vitality, or Fnatic. Which other 2 make LAN? Or even, like you said, complexity. Could they make LAN? Like, I don't think I can bet on Flipside making LAN right now with how things are going for them. I also don't think I can bet on complexity making LAN. I think that although the complexity roster last season bounced back from a terrible off season and then did really well in comparison and made LAN and finished 3rd at that LAN, this is a new roster for them. It's not. They don't have that like experience and hours and hours of playing together to fall back on. They're still trying to figure things out, and they haven't figured it out. And I don't think they've got enough time to figure it out. So I think complexity are probably not making LAN. So that's my MouseSports, complexity, Flipside not making LAN. And then you've got to pick one out of Fnatic, Vitality, PSG to not make LAN. Yikes. That's so hard. That's so hard. But yeah, Dem Girlz and Dignitas are probably the most consistent out of those 2 teams for me. I think they're making it. I think PSG are making it as well. I think they look really good recently. Vitality,
so
I've looked a bit.
Same top 4.
Yeah, top 4. I think it's between Vitality and Fnatic actually. I think for the last LAN spot, because Fnatic have got. I think Fnatic probably don't consider themselves as favorites just yet. Vitality do probably consider themselves as LAN likelies. So if it starts to go wrong for Vitality, it could go really, really badly. They might just panic. Whereas Fnatic, I think they're always going to be like fighting as underdogs. Like, I'm tempted to give it to Fnatic over Vitality just because rookie season for Scrub. Like, it could just go all rubbish. It could just go all pear-shaped. You never know. It's really tough to say.
I mean, we've seen Scrub Killer look Fairy Peak in the face with $10,000 in the line and just go, yeah, I got this.
True. Very true.
I don't see him having any bottle in him.
I don't think a bottle's a problem. I think, like, it's more... For me, it's more to do with, like, when things start to go wrong. Like, because it will at some point. You're going to be down 1-0 at the start of a game at some point in an important game. And I know Scrubkilla has got it in him to come back in a situation like that. But do Vitality as a team have it in them to come back? Like, I think they do. I think they do.
I mean, we've already seen them make one of the only best-of-7 reverse sweeps that we've ever seen with 2 members of that roster.
Yeah, true.
So I think they can do it.
Oh yeah, they could definitely do it. The problem is that they don't have a pushover against them. Fnatic are not going to be a pushover at all. No. It's going to be really, really tough. But yeah, I do think Vitality are going to make LAN, probably. Like, I'd have to give them the higher percentage there. Like, that's. I think I agree. You said the same, right? Yeah, PSG, Vitality, Dem Girlz, Dignitas for LAN.
Mm-hmm.
And then complexity on MouseSports going down. Yeah, I think I just have to agree with those on paper. But yeah, Fnatic are probably going to be the team that are more likely to, go to a game 7 and then not make LAN. I don't think Flipside are. They've got some stuff that they need to figure out before that's going to be them. But yeah, even then, like, it's the format's so bad. Like, Flipside could just show up, win one series, and then go LAN. Like, it's so dumb. Like, who's gonna finish 3rd and then play against the 6th place Flipside? That's not fun. But yeah, I think winning the whole thing. I kind of fancy. Not gonna lie, I kind of fancy PSG to win a playoff in Europe, and like once everybody's made LAN, I think PSG are probably gonna have more drive than anybody else to go through the entire bracket and win the whole thing. Vitality are gonna be like, okay, we made LAN, relief. Dignitas will be like, okay, we made LAN again. Obviously, they're just bored at this point, falling asleep. And then it's between Dem Girlz and PSG, who wants it more. I think PSG might want it more because they've got a lot to prove. Ferrat and Chaussette like trying to prove that Bluey was wrong about them. And Fruity on his debut season, like they've got a lot to prove. I'm not sure if I think they're going to win RLCS. I'm not saying that they're going to win RLCS Season 6, but I think they've got a really good shot not to win league play.
Too far out before predicting that.
Oh yeah, I don't even think PSG are likely to win league play, but playoffs, yeah, they've got a really good shot. Like if I had to put it down to percentages, they'd be right up there with Dignitas for like the highest percentage for me to win, just because I think they want it more. And that's like when it comes to online playoffs, that's what it's all about. You've already made LAN. Like now you're just playing for seeding. So I reckon that's what I would say about that. Have you got any other thoughts on NA and EU RLCS, Shogun, before we start to ride this out?
It's gonna be a good Sunday every week. That's a mental schedule. I've looked at the schedule for this whole thing. It's great. I love it. Like, taking our own personal thoughts about format aside, if you just want good Rocket League, it's gonna be great. Oh yeah.
And the good thing is that every team plays every week now. So there's no off weeks. If you're a fan of a team, you're going to see them play every weekend. If you're a fan of a player, you're going to see them play every weekend. So that's a great change in my opinion. The off weeks were not good. This week, the games you've got to look forward to: FlyQuest Allegiance, the new boys are going to be up against each other first. Then we got Cloud9 against Rogue. That's going to be a really interesting series. Ghost versus EG. A little bit of still I think a little bit of bad blood between those two, so that's cool. And then Allegiance versus G2, the real question for G2 right at the beginning, like can they actually just win a series that they're supposed to win? FlyQuest against NRG to round things off for NA. Then the next day, that's this following Sunday, in Europe, we got Fnatic versus Dignitas, Mouse versus Vitality, PSG versus Complexity, Mouse versus Fnatic, and then Dem Girlz versus Flipside. So every team's going to play. I'm really looking forward to the games. We're not going to make any predictions for these individual games, because I think we've done enough predictions for 1 week. But we're going to be doing this every week before RLCS happens. And I think since this is the pre-season episode, obviously we've just been giving our overall season thoughts. But when we see the teams play in week 1, that's going to really open our eyes to what's in store for us for the rest of the season. And that's going to be what most of the content in these podcasts is going to be like built around. We're going to be just talking about what we think happened in the games. What do we think about the games? Because everybody wants to hear what you've got to say about the RLCS games, Shogun. Like, since they can't get their fix over on Twitch.
They just got away from me. They finally get away from me, and I'm chasing them down.
But yeah,
it should be a fun time. I'm definitely looking forward to this season.
So yeah, we can't hear Shogun's thoughts, and you can't hear my thoughts here every week. I'll be tweeting every time that we're going live for this. I don't know if we're going to have a set day. We probably won't have a set day because we do have other things
that sort of thing
to do. But I don't think that really matters. We're not going to have a time slot on a day that we do this. But you can catch it on Twitch VOD or on YouTube after the fact. But it'll be up before RLCS weekends happen. Hopefully no later than the Friday night. So this being Thursday night that we're recording or that we're streaming this one. Yeah, if you want to catch future episodes, just follow me on Twitter, because I'll tweet every time that we're going live for this. That's the best way you can do it. But if you want to see Shogun elsewhere, you can. The good thing about this man not being casting RLCS League Play this season is there's going to be a lot more streams, or at least so I hear. So where can people find you on Twitch, Shogun?
I've got all of the same things under the same brand right now, at Callum the Shogun on Twitter and Twitch, where you can find me. I stream every single day at 1 PM BST. We go for 5 hours. Possibility of a bonus stream in the afternoon, but that's honestly if I feel about it. But every single day, 1 PM BST. And Johnny, I think you'd agree with this, the best production in Rocket League Twitch.
Yeah, we really do bring both sides of the coin. I think if you want the worst, you know where to come. I'm right here. And if you want the best production quality, you go to Shogun. I'm partial to both, so I do recommend that you click that link that I just posted in the chat. That's Callum the Shogun, Callum with 2 L's. Give him a follow. He'll be streaming. Usually not at the same time as me, actually, so you can catch both of us. And then, of course, we'll be doing this as well.
Day.
Yeah, you can just go. It's usually you, and then I'll come in for the late shift. But yeah, we'll be doing this as well. So I don't know. We'll maybe bring in a guest some weeks. We don't really need that though. We're like, let's keep this to an hour. We're almost at an hour and a half. We've got no guest. But yeah,
I told you we can fill.
Yeah.
If there's ever a technical issue out there, and you want 2 people to fill, come and hire us. We've got the same agency as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're all good for your event.
We've tried to keep this short. Not gonna lie. Like I've cut every single team discussion. We're like, okay, let's move on. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. If you've got anything that you want to let us know, any recommendations for following weeks or any suggestions, then keep them to yourselves, because we're already making the perfect product over here. What are you talking about?
Brilliant.
No, for real, you can feel free to tweet that at us, or find us on like Discord, or just find where we live. Leave a post a letter through the
middle of nowhere. It'd be good to see a friendly face.
Yeah, just post a letter through the window.
I don't care. I just want to see a face.
Sellotape it to the window. Remember to write the words
just
right
so that
around.
you've got a Shogun command.
Yeah. Oh wait, do I?
Oh, yeah.
I've got a Shogun command on Twitch chat. Oh, I didn't do that. I did not do that.
Yeah, I disagree. You're gonna hear from my lawyers.
I hope. Well, one of my mods who made that's gonna have to own up to it. This is Rocket League response by Nightbot every time somebody types !Shogun in chat. But yeah, for now, guys, we're gonna round off the more structured chat portion of the stream. So thanks for watching. We're gonna continue doing some AMA with Twitch chat for a while. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Feedback would also be appreciated, and we'll see you next week for episode 2. Take care. All right.
Oh, that was such a clean outro. Oh, you're good at this, Johnny.
I'm better than I used to be. Oh man, like it was a real reality check when I started like trying to do actual YouTube recordings. I could not end a video. I would just not know what to say. Like at the end of the video, I just keep on talking. I'm like, wait, when does this outro stop? I started minutes ago, and now it's actually getting decent. So,
nah, you gotta turn around and go, I hate you all. Like me anyway. Bye.
Yeah.
There you are. Easy, clean.
But yeah, let's have a couple of questions in chat. So if you want to get a question answered by me or Shogun, we'll hang around for like 10 or 15 minutes. I know we've been ignoring the chat for this entire time.
Brilliant.
Do you want to take a break before we do this, or are you just good to hop right in?
Keep going.
All right, let's just do that right now. So remember, at Johnny Boy in chat if you want to catch my attention in particular. We'll just go through questions in the order that they appear. First of all, or ask Shogun questions through me as well. I'll make sure to ask them. We'll both answer everything. So, Johnny, why are you throwing shade at my man Cucks? I mean, I don't remember throwing shade at him, but I reckon he's probably playing less Rocket League right now than he did when he was one of the best players in the world. So that's why I don't expect the most from Flipside. I mean, what do you think about Cucks this season, Shogun?
I think Cooks will always be solid. He's not the world beater anymore that he used to be. It's kind of hard to be because there's not really teams that you look at and just go, okay, this one is mechanically fantastic compared to everyone else on the map. That was always Cooks' strong suit. But he's still fine. He's still a top tier player. It's just a case of he can't solo carry anymore. Yeah. That's not a slight against anyone. That's just a fact to every player out there.
Yeah, and the stuff that he doesn't catch people off guard as much as it used to. He used to surprise people with almost every touch of the ball because he was on another level, but now everybody else is kind of getting up to that level, so he's not able to catch people off guard as much as he used to. Let's see, the biggest problem of F3 ? Well, Shogun said it earlier, they kind of peaked at the wrong time. They were doing really well, so they thought, all right, let's just keep doing what we're doing, and then I don't know if that was really a good thing for them to happen. But I think really the biggest problem is that I don't know if they like have the drive that their competitors do. All these like new debut players in RLCS, they want it so much, and I don't know if Flipside do to the same degree. Not sure if you would agree with that, Shogun, that you said earlier.
I agree. I haven't got too much really to add to that. They peaked, I think, at the wrong time. They've got to refine that peak. The problem is they had a period of time where everyone was focusing on them, and now everyone's tried to figure out a way of beating them. Yeah. So they're playing catch-up at the worst possible time. Yeah.
Do you think if Zayn got dropped instead of Matt, they could have a chance of top 4? So there's Ghost, of course. Well, they have a chance of top 4 right now, of course. It's not like they don't have a chance. NA's not that clear-cut. I don't think...
Hey, I have a sub now. All right,
you just got a gift thing. Oh, fantastic! There you go.
How do I do this face? Okay, give me a second here.
But yeah, I think they've got a chance at top 4.
Perfect.
I don't know what was going on behind the scenes with Ghost. I don't know if it was Matt didn't like playing with the team. I don't know if the team didn't like playing with Matt. But yeah, I think Matt overall individually is probably a better player than Zayn. but that doesn't mean he's a better player for that team. So it's a lot of question marks when these things happen, unless you know what happened behind the scenes, which I didn't even try to find out. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think they would make top 4 if they had Matt in the team?
I think unless they got Chicago, they probably don't make top 4. They sort of get thrown into the argument of maybe those teams, like we'll throw them into the G2, Rogue, FlyQuest argument we were having earlier on.
Yeah.
But even then, I still would stick to my guns and say G2 come out of that pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Let's see what else we got here. Would you prefer best of 5 or best of 7 games for league play in RLCS? Oh, best of 5 by far. I've always said I think best of 5, even throughout the entirety of RLCS, I think best of 5 is fine. I don't know if best of 7 finals is even a necessity, like grand finals. I think best of 5 is enough. It's a good enough way. I'm alright. I don't mind there being a best of 7 finals. I've always said my ideal format for Worlds would be group stage into single elimination bracket. So there would never be a bracket reset. You wouldn't need one. That's what I would want to see. In league play though, oh no, best of 7, no way. Best of 5 is easily superior in my opinion.
You'd get so bored. Like you'd get so bored watching a best of 7 every single time.
Yeah, it's just too much. It's way too much.
I actually quite like having best of 7s for like the major stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like the championship rounds to me. It just, all right, you can do what you usually do, but let's see if you've got that one more in you. And I think best of 7s have produced more often than not regarding our best games ever. Of you get to see across a long series how good and bad a team can be. And we saw it recently for... Actually, when was the last time we had a major event that didn't perform? All right, maybe RLCS Season 4 Grand Finals. But since then, we've had the E-League Finals, which had a great best of 7 between G2 and Dignitas. We had the DreamHack Finals. Yeah,
DreamHack.
G2 versus PSG, Game 7 as well.
Yeah.
And the most recent LAN, Game 7 between Dignitas.
Yeah.
And it's always, I like it. Like,
yeah, best of 7 is okay. Yeah, I'm okay with best of 7 finals. Yeah, it's just it makes it more grand, so I'm okay with it. I don't know. I think best of 5 would be enough, though. You know, it would definitely decide who the better team is the majority of the time, which is what you're trying to do. Opinions on players popping off this season. Well, I think Ignite's probably going to pop off. I think Chaussette's probably going to pop off. I think Maestro's going to pop off. I wouldn't be surprised if K-Dot pops off again. He always does in league play. I think Scrubkiller is probably going to pop off. That's, yeah. If Complexity do well, I think Magnus is probably going to be the one who's popping off, but that's harder to see happening. Who's popping off in Europe, Shogun, for you?
Popping off, Magnus is always solid, but he's not one that you look at and just go, wow, what an unbelievable series. He's one that you only ever find out at the end of the season. You're going, oh yeah, he had a pretty solid time. Scrub, I feel he's going to have a really good season for himself. Metza, compared to last season, he's going to look night and day different. I think he's going to really enjoy himself. It's really hard to say anyone on Dignitas. Dignitas has got the problem of being like the good kids in class. Of they're always really good, so it's hard to praise them for being good. Yeah. But anyone on Dig. Violent Panda's been having an unreal last for himself. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's been a standout player for the recent months. I just always see K-Dop doing insanely well in league play. That's why I said K-Dop. But yeah, like you say, it could be anybody. In North America, like JNaps is a pretty obvious answer. Garrett, Justin, Squishy, Gimmick, Jacob potentially. He's been looking very good recently. I think his individual skill has probably never been higher. I think Lethemir is going to be this most solid on Ghost, but I don't know if he's going to pop off. Is anybody else going to pop off in NA? Oh, of course, Chicago. Yeah, I think Chicago can pop off. Anybody it's
hard
to
to that?
Name anyone else like that. You're sort of looking towards the usual suspects.
Yeah.
You guys are looking good, but more to the point on Jacob, he looks like he's really looking into the mechanical side compared to recently. Like his best seasons up to this point were more of a case of a controlled chaos. Now he just looks controlled, and it's much better to see. Yeah. All right, this is a good question. What do you think the format for getting into LAN should be? I would be
interested to see what an open circuit would look like, or at least an open circuit element. If there was a way to qualify for LAN without being in RLCS league play, that would be interesting. Like kind of a wild card qualification. Like the team that picks up the most open circuit points from DreamHack and X Games and whatever else, E-Leagues, all your other events besides RLCS, whoever does the best in all of them combined gets to play in RLCS as well. I think that would be really cool, like a wild card like slot. As far as RLCS goes, I think a larger league would be better. I think that the team that finishes first in league play should probably just auto qualify. I also think that if you're getting 4 teams from each region, yeah, the first, maybe even top 2 teams auto qualify from league play, and then the other teams. I think a gauntlet would look pretty good, honestly. A gauntlet might be the best way, rather than a bracket.
CRL.
What do they do for CRL?
They put you in order. So, like, for an example of it, 6th will play against 5th. Then the winner of that takes on 4th.
That's a gauntlet. Yeah,
you just keep moving up that way.
That's what I meant by a gauntlet. So, like, you've got to, if you finish 6th place in league play, you need to beat 5th and 4th to get in. You got to beat both of them. But if you had a 10-team league, and you maybe want to have top 7 get into the gauntlet, I would have 2 teams auto qualifying just straight out of league play, and then maybe 1 spot for Europe from open circuit, and then 1 spot from a gauntlet. So you'd have, like you say, 7th plays 6th, winner of that plays 5th, winner of that plays 4th, winner of that plays 3rd, and the winner of that gets to go in to the LAN. That would be interesting.
If the league was bigger, I actually wouldn't mind sticking with this current stuff. The reason why at the moment I feel like it leaves a bit of a bad taste with people's mouths is the fact of you are either in the promotion tournament, or you have a chance to go to LAN.
Yeah,
there's no sort of
there's no in between.
You had an okay season, well, like sort of pat on the head.
Yeah,
I feel like the all or nothingness sort of makes it a little bit weird for people. So I wouldn't mind keeping the same, but only if there was 10 teams instead, and you just had some teams that just didn't really do anything.
Yeah. Alright, I saw another interesting question that said, what would be your ideal format for, I think it was, we had qualifying for LAN, then we also had playoffs, so we kind of talked about that right there. But yeah, playoffs, the reason, I think the way that OCE do playoffs is better. What is it they do again? They do 6th plays against 6th plays against 5th, 3rd plays against 4th, and then the loser of 3rd, 4th plays the winner of 5th, 6th. And the winner of that goes to LAN. Oh, and by the way, the winner of 3rd, 4th goes to LAN as well. So if you finish in 3rd or 4th, you're actually in way better position than you finish 5th and 6th, which I think is a good thing. So right now, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, they may as well be the same in LAN qualifying. It's also single elimination, which is a bit interesting for that. Considering that they're so against single elimination for just about anything else, that they make playoff single elimination. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. Favorite player for Season 6? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but if you think MVP for this season, the entire league player or playoffs. I don't know when they pick MVP. Do they pick MVP after league play, Shogun, or playoffs?
Well, it's always announced during the playoffs, isn't it?
Yeah, so it must be league play.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's just after league play.
Could be Shawset or K-Dop or iIgnite, probably, or even Scrub for EU. NA it'll be Gimmick or something like that. I think if Cloud9 do as well as I think they will, I think Gimmick will probably get MVP. Has he had MVP before? Has Gimmick been MVP of NA before?
He's had weekly MVP, but I don't
not season.
The overall.
Because I know they like to switch things up over in RLCS. They like to award awards to different players, which I don't see why. But
trying to think. Garrett got it last season.
Yeah.
Season before that,
I think it'll be Justin or Gimmick this season for NA.
Yeah, I think there's a good shout on that. I'm curious to see if I don't get over there in time, to fix everything, what Europe ends up looking like for an MVP vote. But that'll be whatever it is,
Yeah. Do you think RLCS will ever go cross-regional and implement LAN league play? I don't think. If by that I mean NA and EU teams will both be playing against each other in league play, then absolutely not. No. Do I think that there will be eventually a league play LAN in Europe for European teams? Yeah, probably. And I think there will probably be a league play LAN in America for American teams. probably, and ideally as well. I think that would be the best way to do it. Just give RLCS EU to like an organization like Gfinity and let them run wild, and then you can really have our RLCS NA broadcast talent team put their heads down and just figure out the North American League, because trying to do both is always going to diminish the quality of both. So that's my opinion on that. I'm not sure if Shogun completely agrees, but what do you think about that?
I agree in terms of it's good to be able to focus on something, especially as a broadcaster, because you get to look at the games that you're casting that weekend and just go, okay, I know this match inside and out. I know the stats I want to bring up, everything. But 16 teams is a lot. Yeah. And depending on when you get that caster schedule, telling you who's doing what and when. I mean, we've seen RLCS is not even close like this. I'm not going to name any names for this. RLCS, you actually do get your schedule with a decent amount of time. But we've had events where you get your schedule on the day. Yeah. And you ain't got no notes for that.
Yeah,
You're just
really
hoping
prepare.
you know.
That's where you need to know your teams very well, or else it doesn't work at all.
And even then, you're not going to be able to bring up any, good stats or head-to-head stuff because you just don't have the time to research it.
Yeah. All right, next question. Do you think any of Casio, Ronicky, or Burrito B will get picked up by an RLCS team?
I hope not, because I want to see them up next season. It's the team themselves. I want to see Triple Trouble up.
Yeah, well, that could happen as well. Speaking about Casio, Ronicky, and Burrito B, I mean, you have picked three of the easily the best players in the Challenger Series. I think Ronicky's the star player for Triple Trouble, and I think Casio and Burrito B are both. I mean, it's a shame to say that 2 out of the 3 players in a team are the star players, but yeah, I think Burrito B and Casio are both really, really good. Probably both top 5 Rival Series EU players, so I could see that. I kind of want to extend that question. Who else do you think are the players in EU Rival Series who could get picked up by an RLCS team? If let's say if they don't qualify, who could get picked up? I mean, even teams that did qualify still got Mummy still moved. So if you're not safe, you can still get it and then
doesn't make you safe.
Move. Yeah, just because you're getting a better salary.
Anyone on Triple Trouble, Burrito B, Ronicky, Cassie. Oh, there's so many. You've even got Savage. You've got Alpha has been up and coming. Yeah, big time. Devo, Scrub. I mean, not Scrub. My goodness, he's already in. Bluey. I always get Bluey and Scrub up. Thanks.
I would think Alpha's
down to Weed and Babies.
Alpha's going to be the player in that team on Savage who's most likely to get picked up, just because Bluey and Devo have already had their chance, and teams are probably not going to be like that willing to go back to them when they've both kind of failed in some regard. Whereas Alpha is still young, and well, I mean, they're all young, but Alpha's young as a player and wants that really, really badly. I would say if I'm not allowed to pick too many players from the same team, I'd highlight Ronicky, Casio, Burrito B, Flame. I mean, I could see Freaky going back up.
Yeah, I forgot Flame's in there. My goodness.
Yeah, Freaky Flame. Speed is actually not right now ready, but I could see him being ready. At the end of the season.
He's been improving quite rapidly.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player.
Norwich represent.
Oh yeah. Who else?
I've actually promised Triple Trouble if they do qualify and promote as a team that I will buy them a Nando's.
Oh wow! Well, that's a huge deal. There you go.
Yeah, they're ready for it. They weren't motivated beforehand. Now they are.
But yeah, I would say, yeah, that's probably it. Oh no, and Alpha, of course. Yeah, I think I said Alpha, but yeah. The anyone in the clappers? I don't know.
I don't think they'd be picked up before.
Nah, I don't think they're just not the kind of players that RLCS players are going to go for. I don't think. By the way, we're so far behind. Oh my goodness, there's so many questions. We're not going to be able to answer all these questions, so apologies about that. We'll just take a few more. Let me see if I can grab any interesting ones. Do you think G2 needs a roster change?
I think they will. They've literally just signed a multi-year contract. I don't think they need one now. I
don't think they do. Not yet.
They've already seen it click. They've already had a period of time where it wasn't clicking, and then they got a bunch of good results.
It depends what
There's
their
no
goals
reason why.
are. Do they want to win multiple seasons of RLCS? Then yeah, probably they need to change somebody if that's their goal. If they want to have an outside chance at winning one, then no, they don't need to change it. It depends what their goals are. It depends, like, realistically, what do they think they're gonna do, and what are they trying
And
to
who can you
accomplish?
get?
Yeah,
You know, it's good to say make a change, but for who?
yeah, true. At Callum Shogun, do you follow RLRS? I mean, me, no, not really. Just because I don't know. NA, no, not at all. Like, I just look at who played and who won. I don't think I've ever watched a North American RLRS game. Just being honest with you guys, I don't think I have. Have you, Shogun?
I've always sort of kept up, you know, part of the job.
With like watching game or watching series or just seeing who's doing good.
Yeah,
like,
me
on
and
paper?
Axel around Axel's house with his
Oh,
yucky
okay,
dogs.
fair enough. Yeah, but now me, I've never because like I just never needed to know. Like, just need to watch the promotion tournament and then look at stats.
I would say though, I'm definitely watching all of the rival series for Europe this season. Like, that actually looks like a lot of fun.
There's some decent teams. It's gonna be like, it's still a class down though. Like, see, when I watch RLCS, I'm like, oh, that was good. Let me watch some rival series, and I watch it. It's always like gonna be a step down because there is depth of talent in Europe, but it's not enough depth to have like a complete league full of complete world beaters, right? So yeah, I'm sure there'll be some decent series, but for rival series, I'll probably wait, and if I hear a series was decent, then I'll go and watch it. I'm not going to be watching it live for the most part, I don't think, just because I'll probably have other things to do. Don't know if they're even going to stream every game live. They didn't last season.
They didn't last season.
No.
I've got no idea about this season at all.
Johnny Boy, can you analyze me and tell me where I need to improve? And not for free, mate. And probably not soon as well, because I've got way too long a list of people waiting to get the replays analyzed. But it's possible in the future. Possible. Let's see if I got any other questions. I've scrolled all the way down to the bottom, so I'm resetting the question order. Go, chat. Final questions. Ash Shogi, how can I improve for next season? Says Snasky.
Keep doing what you're doing at the moment, because I like what I'm seeing at the moment. More of the thing that you know, the thing that you're currently doing. More of that thing.
Callum Shogun, how do you think Allegiance will do in RLCS this year? He said that they're going to come last, so I can answer that one for him. Flipside did make a change. Who do you think a player would be to move? I mean, Mystic is a really, really nice guy, so he's the kind of team captain I could see benching himself, but that's not to say he should bench himself, by the way. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's a really, really, like, he's a very self-aware and very, like, good person, so he would probably do that. If any team captain would do that, it would probably be Mystic. It might be Cux, though, you know? Cux might just need a new team, like,
but
it's worked for other players in the past.
We already know Cux is a loyalist to that team.
True. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He would never move through his own choice.
True. Like, Cux is very, very loyal to Flipside, but, you know, Yukio's looking really good recently. Can he play to his full potential with Cux on his team, who plays, like, such an unorthodox play style still? I mean, it does work, and he's still a really good player, but can Yukio play to his best ability with Cux? Don't think he has yet. I don't think I've ever seen Yukio playing at his absolute best. It's always Cux who's playing at his best, and Yukio doing enough. And Mystic has... Well, actually, I've seen Mystic plays like really, really good Rocket League with Cux in his team, to be fair. But no, I don't know. Like, Flipside are kind of like G2 right now, but a little bit less of a disappointment. Because, like, they do lose, but they're losing to really, really good teams. G2 just sometimes lose for no reason. So yeah, they don't. I don't think they should change. That's why I think they're like G2. I don't think they should change anything. I think a maximum of 2 teams being exchanged between RLCS and RLRS is enough. Yeah, probably. I don't think that getting more teams in and out of the league every season is the problem. What I will say, though, is that I think if you're last in RLCS, you should just go straight down. Like, why are they getting a second chance? What do you reckon about that, Shogun? Should there be, like, a promotion?
I actually spoke about this last season, which is... I would like that last spot and the top spot for the rival series to mean a lot more of just going, you're through, well done. Like, you played perfectly and you played atrociously. Get out.
Right.
I would love that a lot more.
let me just confirm. Like rival series, the top 2 in the league get into the promotion tournament, and third place stays up.
The third and fourth stay up.
It's a kind of a weird system that they've got over there. Like it's so different from RLCS. I don't know why the 2 leagues operate in completely different ways. I don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. I think like winning rival series, you should go up, and then probably just a gauntlet. Again, I just love gauntlets. But yeah, I think
you do.
Like letting more teams, like if you finish 3rd in rival series, you should probably not just be completely out of contention. Like wasn't it really close last season? Like a team that finished 3rd and was right behind the team that finished 2nd.
I think it was actually might have been tied.
Yeah, they were tied, and they're just like, sorry, no, unlucky.
Yeah, I think the main one there is like the drop down of the bottom team, because I've seen too many times where I've seen teams that straight up look bad, and whilst you would never accuse them of it on stream, you're also thinking to yourself, well, you guys already know you're bottom 2. You're not trying right now. But with the same, you could sort of use how few games are in the league to your advantage there. If you're a league designer, and you say, look, if you're last, you're gone. So that one last game suddenly means a lot more, because it's very rare those bottom 2 are separated by more than that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'm trying to find one more question for Shogun here before we round this off. So we're actually taking more than I said we would, but they've been quite interesting, so why not? Do you think it should be an RLRS LAN to get into RLCS? No. No. Yeah, double round robin group stage would kind of make sense. I would be okay with that. That's not a problem, in my opinion. Think RLCS should increase to 10 teams? Yeah, probably.
Let's get a question that's not around format.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one that's like you. Okay, I've got a perfect question to finish things off. Calm Shogun. Who do you think is the best looking RLCS player?
Best looking RLCS player. I think there's an inward beauty to a lot.
A lot.
There's no one I want to go drinking with more.
A lot. There we go. Oh, Persnowski.
Well, you know, I've been drinking with Snasky. You know, I've been there, done that. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm gonna try something new, something Swedish.
Thing is, if you're with a lot, you're with the rest of them as well.
Oh yeah.
And I saw how bad that casino trip.
Less said about that, the better. And on that note, I think it's probably time to round this one off. All I'm going to do for the rest of the stream, I know people are asking. I'm just going to catch up on all the alerts that I missed, and then say goodnight, because I've got to head off. But this has been fun. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, because we're going to be doing more of them. And again, check out Shogun's stream at twitch.tv/Callum Shogun. I'm pasting it in my Twitch chat right now, so go and follow him. And you can find him when he's going live every day, usually, or most weekdays. But yeah, thanks for the questions, guys. I'm just gonna say goodnight to Shogun. So Shogun, any final words for the stream before we say goodnight? Goodbye.
Sub to Shogun on Twitch.
Sub to Shogun on Twitch. There you go.
Yes, sub to Shogun on Twitch.
And follow him on Twitter. He's close to 10k. We need to get that K.
So my entire thing right now is I have seen some like actually cool people that have followed me.
Oh.
So I'm determined to post so much garbage that I get them to unfollow me.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna see a lot of garbage, but still, you could do.
It's good garbage. It's top tier garbage.
Yeah, it'll be decent. So just go and get Shogun to 10k followers, and he'll have a K in his Twitter following. It's
nice.
Really cool.
I can stop looking at those individual ones.
Yeah, it goes from 9999 to 10k. It's really fun.
Oh, I got one. We're rolling through. This is basically done now.
You better follow me as well and enter my giveaway on Twitter. I'm giving away literally every titanium white item for the Rocket Pass.
Well, I'll see what I can give away. Who wants? I want all of it. You know what? I'm a DeLorean player, but I want all of it. You get nothing.
Yeah, sorry guys, no giveaway from Shogun, but you can win all the titanium white items from the Rocket Pass by entering my Twitter giveaway, because I don't know, I just kept on buying Rocket Pass levels till I had them all. Don't know why, and I don't even want them. But yeah, such is life. Anyway, Shogun, it's been a lot of fun. I'll talk to you again later, man. Thanks for stopping by, giving us all of this time and knowledge and entertainment. And
Okay,
yeah, looking forward to
don't
seeing
agree
you
with any of
cast
that.
Rocket League again in the future.
Hopefully, be working with you again very soon. It's been
Yes.
almost a year now.
It has actually.
Last
Man
one we
alive.
did was Gfinity in December.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun though.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, look forward to it, man. All right,
Yes,
take care,
definitely.
buddy.
Later, buds.